Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, cha, bonjour, namaste, jumbo. Bienvenidos. Hey, my name is Jed Lee. This is Reading with Your Kids. We are beaming out to you in the world from Reedville. It's the loveliest little neighborhood in all of Boston. At Reading with Your Kids, our mission is simple but powerful: to bring families together through the shared magic of books and stories. In every episode, we sit down with fascinating folks who are creating books that open up hearts and spark imaginations. Do you want to help us grow this mission? Then tell all of your family and friends, your kids' teachers, even the crossing guard, letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Good Pods, Podcast Addict. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. We have a really wonderful show lined up for you today. Adib Khorram and Hanna Cha are here to celebrate Tea is Love. Later in the show, we meet the very inspirational Dorian Stewart, who is here to celebrate I Am Made to Be Unstoppable. This episode is brought to you by OnceUponADance.com. Take storytelling to a whole new level. With Once Upon a Dance, your child will do more than just listen. They'll move, imagine, and connect. It's a literary adventure and a performance all in one. From graceful turns to energetic leaps, each story brings an immersive experience that engages both body and mind. Whether your child enjoys unicorns, bats, zombies, or cats, Once Upon a Dance has a Dance It Out story just for them. Celebrate joyful movement and visit OnceUponADance.com or find them at your favorite social media platform. Hey, I want to let you know that this episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by Chicken Coop Chaos by Nancy Tavares. Are you ready for some barnyard fun your kids will absolutely adore? Then you've got to check out Nancy Tavares' delightful books, Chicken Coop Chaos and Chicken Coop Chaos Christmas. In the original Chicken Coop Chaos, we meet Pearl, a hen who loves peace, order, and a tidy little hen house. But when Window the Rooster barges in and decides he's not leaving, Pearl has to hatch a clever plan to take back her space. And let's just say things get hilariously chaotic. And just in time for the holidays, Chicken Coop Chaos Christmas brings even more laughs, heart, and festive feathered fun. These books are perfect for young readers, classrooms, and family read-aloud time. So flap on over to your favorite bookstore or online retailer and grab your copies of Chicken Coop Chaos and Chicken Coop Chaos Christmas today. Your kids will be clucking with joy. We are in for a treat tonight, my friends. We got a first. We have a first. First, joining us once again from Kansas City, he's here to celebrate his new picture book, Tea is Love. Please welcome back to the show, Adib Khorram. Hey, Adib, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I was doing great until about a minute ago when you told me that the barbecue place in Kansas City that I went to that I loved wasn't the best one in the city. Now I have to go back. I feel this pressure.
You can do the whole tour. There's a host of barbecue places to try.
And also joining us from right here in Boston, I just drove through her neighborhood about a half an hour ago, the illustrator of Tea is Love, Hanna Cha. Hanna, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great as well. Also first time meeting you guys, so that's exciting, honestly.
Yes, I was going to say that the premiere, the first time Adib and Hanna, after creating this wonderful book together, this is the first time that they're meeting and speaking to each other. So I'm going to sit back. You guys have at it. Just talk about your great book.
I don't know.
Okay, well
it's
now there's so
hard
much
to talk
pressure.
about it. Yeah.
I will say, no, sorry, you go first.
I was going to say, you know, people, I was shocked when I started Reading with Your Kids and started getting authors on from traditionally published authors, that there's this firewall that is between most illustrators and authors that when they're creating their picture book, they have like zero contact with each other, which I think is crazy. I've heard all the reasoning behind it, and we've had publishers and art directors and things like that and say, well, this is why we do it. But it just still seems kind of weird to me. And I know you guys are in the business, so you don't have to say it's weird to you. So that's fine.
Oh, no.
No, it's weird. I was letting Hanna say it's weird first.
No, basically, I kind of sometimes try and talk to the authors just because I like to know why they wrote the book, or if there's any motivations or any like imagery they would like to put in. Sometimes I think it's very important to have that art element into it. I think I kind of did it to you too, Adib, but you were very gracious to just be like, go free to me as well.
Yeah, I think, we did back channel a little bit. I do think it's weird. I think it makes sense to a certain extent. And I'm sure there's been lots of examples of bad behavior in the past. But I think what's weird is that the separation often continues like past publication. Like it's so rare to like get to go and promote the book together with the illustrator. Maybe because we're geographically separated. But like once it's done, I can't be a jerk to you anymore. So we should totally get to hang out.
What? This is so wrong too, because like, I mean, as you can tell from the book, it's a very sweet and poignant, and the words are so like simple and just perfect too. So just
thank you.
Basically.
Sorry, I'm gushing. I mean, obviously the illustrations are beautiful. I don't know if Ellen, our editor, told you this, that I like squealed when you agreed to do it. And then if I was so excited, and then if I'm not mistaken, it was only like a week or two after that that you won the Caldecott honor. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad she agreed before she became too famous to talk to me. It was just thrilling for all of us.
I would have said yes regardless, so no worries about that part.
Well, I hope you are famous enough to say no to people now. Not that you weren't already famous. And you could say no to people before.
For me, Hanna, you can't say no to me, at least for this.
It's
this
true.
During the interview. Adib, why don't you tell us about the story that we're going to experience when we read Tea is Love with our kid?
Sure. Tea is Love is an ode to my love of tea, the plant and the drink. My very first novel, it was a young adult novel called Darius the Great is Not Okay. And the main character, Darius, loves drinking tea. He loves making tea. He's very knowledgeable about tea. And my agent said, have you ever thought about making a picture book about tea? And I thought that would be fun. I should make one about like a character who drinks lots of tea, or I should make one about like how tea is made from plant all the way to like cup. And yet none of that ever quite came together. And instead this very simple refrain came to me, which is that tea is love. And I was like, maybe that's the picture book. Maybe it's just called Tea is Love, and it's about how tea is love. And I wrote so many drafts of it, some similar to what the final product was, some much, much more verbose. The final book is like one sentence per page. I think it's by far my shortest picture book. I think it totals less than 100 words, unless you count the author's note, where I did get very verbose talking about the history of tea. But we tried it so many ways, and it finally sort of arrived in the very simple, sparse text with far more like descriptions for an illustrator than I'd ever given before. Because usually I'm like, I don't want to mess with the illustrator's magic. But this time, Ellen, our editor, was like, Adib, you have to give some indication of what's in your mind. Otherwise, like you've left it too open. Give
but
more.
It was perfect. I love the descriptions because it allowed me to understand what was the whole goal of the book, and it was such a good bouncing off point it was basically connections of different cultures, and it flows into each other. And with your description, it gave me the inspirations, like why I would love to continue to see the people from the previous page continuing on and on, kind of like a long journey. So it's perfect what you did.
What you did is even more perfect. Uno reverse. I'm Uno reversing you.
Well, it's, I received the book. It is upstairs in my office upstairs, and it's a beautiful book. It's a great story. Where did you told the inspiration came, Adib, for the book came from a suggestion that was made. Why didn't the other stories kind of work for you, do you think?
I wish I knew, honestly. If I knew why sometimes stories worked or didn't work, I would probably be much faster as a writer and much more prolific and successful. Not that I have ever actually thrown spaghetti at a wall. The Italians would come after me if I ever did. But the metaphor of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, I feel like really applies to my creative process. Sometimes stories work and sometimes they just don't. And I can't always quantify why. There's just something in that is not making me happy yet. And I'm a little selfish, and I do always try to make myself happy with my writing first.
But that makes perfect sense. If you're not happy with your work, I don't think anybody else can be happy with it either.
It's true.
Hanna, tell me, you were mentioning the notes that you appreciated, the notes that Adib sent you. What did you think about the manuscript when you first read the manuscript?
I mean, for me, a lot of my rule to saying yes to a picture book is when I read the manuscript and maybe a little bit the description on the side, can I imagine it very easily? And it really kind of opened up very lyrically. The words are very short, like it's a sentence long per almost spread or pages, but it all flowed together and rolled off the tongue so perfectly. I could see how, like, as a kid or a reader, like, flip through the book, how it has, like, such a nice, warm rhythm to it. And it just sparked a lot of ideas, also drinking a lot of tea as well. Maybe I did a lot more research to do this book, though, because I'm more of a tea bag kind of lover instead of the very, I know it's very controversial in a way, but any warm beverages I love. So I made sure to do my research to see like the history behind it, how you make it. The first page starts with how they cultivate puree, or like they making the puree tea, and from there it kind of branches off to all sorts of places. So basically just having fun, and the fact that if I can imagine something easily or the flow of it, then is an instant yes for me.
Oh, cool. I love that. And I love that you researched it. You drank a lot of tea to research it. What a fun way
It's a great excuse. I was like, this is research, and I was just buying teas off shelves, and I was like looking it up, how you do it. I almost wanted to buy like a really nice teapot. I was like, okay, this is going too far. I can't put that in the research budget. That needs to just go to normal budget. So
I feel like you should check with your accountant about that.
Absolutely, yes.
I was too scared to go. I have so much interest with picture books. So, like, every category, every book is so different. So it can be like, my accountant be like, why are you buying roller skates? I'm like, it's in a book. I might need it. I need to know how to do it. Things like that. So.
I'm not an accountant, but I would say that's a legit expense.
Mm-hmm. Life is full of whimsy with picture books and creating it. So.
Yeah. What is it, Hanna, about picture books that you love so much that you're drawn to?
Oh, that is such a hard question. I would say I love how it feels like a poem. So it's almost like a very condensed idea of a story often. And I feel like for picture books, because our audiences or the young ones, they know when they don't like one, or they know if the story isn't working for them, or an adult is trying to like speak too much towards them. I just love that with picture books. Yeah, it's like a poem, and I'm trying to like speak out to kids and encourage them to read more complex stories afterwards. It's their first step. It's their first agency to flip the books and like progress the story. I can go on. I think I rambled a little bit too.
Oh, no rambling here. Adib, you mentioned that you tend to be very verbose when you write books. Is it difficult for you as you're writing a picture book to remember that, I got to let the illustrator tell part of the story?
I actually am lucky in a way. My background is actually in live theater, and I was a lighting designer, but early on we kind of learned that it's a collaborative process. Like as the writer, Scriptwriters tend to give very sparse stage directions, only what is necessary. They only give basically the dialogue and then entrances and exits, because that's for a director, a scenic designer, a costume designer, a lighting designer to come to the story with their own artistry. And so I feel like I've always had a very easy time saying, here's what the people are saying and here's what the people look like, and then like do whatever you want. And sometimes I'm a little too lax with it, and then my editor is like, Adib, you have to give a little bit more than that. And I'm like, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. And she's like, you don't need to step on anyone's toes. You have to build a floor for them to stand on first. And I'm like, heard. So no, I love the collaboration. And I'm not very good at drawing, painting, anything. I mean, I do it. I love it. I love a good paint and sip. But I have never failed to be like blown away by the artistry that an illustrator has brought to any of my picture books. And this one is no exception. I like just started crying at a table in a coffee shop when I first got the spreads, because it made me just well up with joy seeing my words match with such lovingly rendered illustrations. It just felt like a warm hug.
Yeah, neat. You know, as we're talking, I'm thinking back. I just had a couple of texts from my daughter right before we hit record here, and I'm thinking back to when she was, before she went into kindergarten, she would spend many days with my mother, and my mom they would sit down and they would have tea together. And it was such a nice tradition for them, something that she really looked forward to. Adib, do you imagine that a family might sit around the table or sit around the couch drinking some tea as they're reading Tea is Love?
I sure hope so. I think it pairs very nicely with a cup of tea.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Hanna? What kind of conversations? One of the things that we love to do is to encourage families to do a picture walk through a book before they read the text. To just take a walk, take a look at all the pictures and think, what do you think the story is all about? What kind of conversations do you think families could have as they're taking a picture walk through your illustrations?
Oh my goodness. Well, I hope, because it starts with at a tea farm, and you keep on continuing and meeting new people. I just want everyone to have curiosity of like, as they're flipping the book, where would this go? And I think there's one point where you're even jumping across the worlds through certain mechanisms in here that hopefully as they read the book, they will know what I'm talking about later. And let's see. And just having curiosity of the different types of teas. For example, my favorite tea that I did put in is a chamomile tea, which is like yellow flowers, non-caffeinated. But my favorite is when you just put it in a translucent teapot and you pour in hot water, it blooms. So there's so many different motions that tea has, and I just want them to maybe like hopefully explore through it, using tea as a catalyst for other cultures or even different moments, because there's different moments between grandma and granddaughter, a family, even like neighbors. So hopefully the pictures will just start the conversation between families or just memories about tea.
Yeah. Adib, writing this book here in America, there are tea drinkers here in America, but there's, as Hanna would say, since she is living in the capital of Dunkin' Donuts, there's coffee is so much more of a thing here in the States. Did that cross your mind at all as you were writing this ode to tea?
I would first of all push back on it being Dunkin' Town, because Boston is famous for a tea party.
Yes.
True.
But I think often when we talk about like tea culture in America, we assume that iced tea does not count, and there are hundreds of millions of people in America that do drink iced tea. But I was honestly, see, exactly. I was never worried. There are so many diaspora communities in the United States who brought their tea traditions to the United States with them, practice them to this day, modify them, combine them with other traditions. And and I really wanted to honor that. I am not the kind of person that will insist that there's only ever one way to drink tea. I'm a big believer in your body, your business, and so whatever you want to do to the tea you're going to put in your body, you should make it how you want it. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to show and share that.
Yeah. You know, you're right. There is this tradition in different cultures. We did a lot of work. We've hosted lots of international students in our home, and that kind of started with us being part of what was called a friendship circle with women at Showa University. Showa University is a Japanese women's college, and they have a campus, satellite campus here in Boston. And we would become friends with 2 or 3 of them for a year and do different things with them. And they invited us to a tea ceremony, which was quite wonderful, quite long, quite elaborate. And it's more than just pulling up through the drive-thru and going, yeah, give me one to go.
Did they do like the proper flower arranging and everything as well?
They did everything.
Oh, that sounds so magical.
Yes.
That does sound beautiful.
It was. What's the most, I'll ask both of you, since you both did so much research, what is the most interesting tea ceremony that you encountered, Adib?
Oh, the most interesting ceremony? I do like a proper gong fu style ceremony with like the tea pets and bamboo drain mats, bamboo like tea trays and gaiwans, and lots of very short steepings so you can experience the way that tea develops. As you do it, you get a kind of buzz from the tasting, from the warmth, and from the caffeine and from the other like biochemical compounds that are in tea, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Hanna? What's your favorite ceremony or tradition?
To not cheat, but it was also the Kung Fu ceremony because I just learned about it. But for me, I was so fascinated how you're supposed to take your time when you're doing the ceremony, and it's not like you can do it with other people, but often is a very intimate 1-to-1, and the person is serving the tea, warming up even the glass for the person. And I just love that there's so many like methods to slowly, and I can imagine like they're slowly warming up. It's almost like the whole ceremony is like an icebreaker. You get to talk about your life. You're drinking tea. You're pouring it into, you drain it into the bamboo mat that you said, like Adib, and it was just so fascinating to learn how this one idea of tea, it's so different amongst all the different cultures. Even learning about the different tea kettle, the samovar, the fact that you have a really condensed kettle on top, but then it's a really hot water on the bottom, but the hot water warms up the concentrated tea. It was just like a whole mechanism that cultures would like build upon that I never heard of. So it was fun researching, but Kung Fu, I think, just really resonated with me. I one day would love to participate in one.
Adib, it kind of sounds like this is a great way for a family to just slow down and to start being more intentional, at least with part of their day. How neat would it be if a family, after they finish Tea is Love, would create their own tea ceremonies?
I think that would be beautiful. Tea is unique in that it's one of the few drinks out there that both energizes and calms. And I think that's a great moment to have in every day.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what's going on in your imaginations right now. Adib, do you have a project that you're working on that you can give us a sneak peek of?
Ooh, well, I have my next young adult novel comes out in March of 2026. That's the next calendar year, right?
That's it.
Okay, yes, March of 2026. It's a coming of age story about 2 first-year high school students on sort of either side of an incident in their high school and how they deal with the consequences of their choices. And it's called One Word, Six Letters.
Oh, wonderful. Hanna, what about you? Is there a project that you're working on right now that you can give us a peek of?
Unfortunately, no peaks, but it's coming out 27. It's actually a book that I wrote and also illustrated, and it took me a really long time to get the courage to write, just because when I first debuted, I learned that I need to learn way more too. And then that's why I loved illustrating for other authors, because what is the perfect way to see these incredible manuscripts and different ways of writing and topics. And after, I think 5 years now, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to make my own story and illustrations again. So yeah, I'm working on that.
Congratulations. Well, you're both welcome back to celebrate those books when they're out here. Adib, maybe you convince your art director to get Hanna to do the cover art for your new young adult novel.
Oh my goodness.
It's actually already long done, but I'm hoping to. These books are often done like a year out. But I've been noodling with other picture book ideas, and I think it'd be wonderful if we get to collaborate again. But I can't wait to see what Hanna has written and illustrated. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Same here for you. Oh my goodness. That sounds exciting.
Well, I'd love to have you both back to celebrate those moments. In the meantime, Adib, why don't we tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Tea is Love and find out more about you?
The easiest way to find me is adibkhorram.com, ADIBKHORRAM.com. I also have a monthly newsletter where I put all my book news and appearances and whatever thoughts I'm thinking that month. You can also find me on Instagram or Blue Sky at Adib Khorram.
Hanna, where can we go to find out more about you?
Oh my goodness. So it's also hannacha.com, but I'm a Hanna without the H at the end. So HANNACHA.com. And then all my other social media stuff is Hanna Uni Cha. And you can get Tea is Love from, of course, your local booksellers, bookshop.org. I recommend. So, yes.
Yeah. And we also really encourage folks to go to their local public libraries, even if they buy their own copy, go to the local library and say, hey, Miss Librarian, could you please bring Tea is Love by Hanna and Adib to the library? And they'll do it. They're nice people.
I wouldn't be here without the library, so yes, of course.
Awesome.
Same.
We've had a great time speaking to the author and illustrator of Tea is Love, great new picture book from our guests, Adib Khorram and Hanna Cha. My friends, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you so much for having us.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Get ready, adventure fans. Toby Baxter is back. In I Heart Riverhome, the fourth thrilling book in the Adventures of Toby Baxter series, written by Tim Wright, 13-year-old Toby dives into his most unexpected quest yet. He's battling trolls, navigating the sandpit of love, and getting stuck with an LOVE compass. But when the girl of his dreams, Rainey, is kidnapped, Toby must summon more courage than ever before. All 4 books in the Adventures of Toby Baxter series have been honored as Reading with Your Kids certified great reads, each packed with fast-paced action, humor, and heart. So grab your copy of I Heart Riverhome today and join Toby on an unforgettable journey through Riverhome, where every page is an adventure. This episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by Trumpet, the Miracle Wolf Pup series. There's a brand new book in the series, and we're so excited to tell you all about it. Trumpet becomes a mom. In this exciting book, Trumpet and Lighthawk, now a bonded pair, start their own family with their very first litter of pups. Families can read together, schools can explore the importance of wolf packs and conservation, and Trumpet fans everywhere can celebrate this milestone in her incredible journey. Grab your copy today. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, select bookstores, and the Wolf Conservation Center, where Trumpet and her family live. Plus, 50% of all profits go right back to supporting the Wolf Conservation Center, with more donated to Lighthawk Conservation Flying. So grab your book today and have a group haul for Trumpet and her family. Join us right now from the beautiful state of Alabama that I forgot I visited. Our guest is here today to celebrate her new picture book. It's her 17th picture book. It's called I Am Made to Be Unstoppable. Please welcome to the show the very inspiring Dorian Stewart. Hey, Dorian, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm delighted that you're joining us. I'm Made to Be Unstoppable. I love that title, but I have a feeling made, it's not just that word made. There's something more to it.
Correct. So I created a series. This is my second series, and I am made means I am motivated, I am affirmed, I am determined, and I am empowered. And then it's whatever it is. So I am motivated to be unstoppable, or I am empowered to shine, or I am affirmed to finish strong.
Excellent. I love that. Who are we going to meet in I Am Made to Be Unstoppable?
So today you're going to meet my friend Landon, and he has spina bifida. And so it is a child that has was born with a issue with his spine. And so for most kids who have spina bifida, they're not able to walk, or they need assistance. Or in the case of Landon, he is in a wheelchair. And so Landon wants to be an athlete. He sees himself as an Olympian. He really wants to go to the Olympics. And he's been telling his friends for as long as he can remember, I'm going to be an Olympian. And even his teacher says, I don't know if that's really what you want to do. Maybe we could try something else. And he's like, nope, I want to do sports. And so he tries basketball and realized that's not going to be his thing because he almost hits the janitor in the head with the ball. Then he figures, let me try javelin. And so he takes his mom's broom out of the pantry closet, and he decides to practice outside, and he almost hits the cats with the broom. And his teacher, seeing him being so determined, was like, have you thought about the Paralympics? He was like, para what? And he realizes, like, hey, I can still do this. And so he gets a coach, and he decides that he's going to race. And even when he decides on an actual sport, he gets in there and he's practicing, and he doesn't get the curves right. And he ends up kind of sliding off of the actual racetrack with the other kids and actually falls into a bush. But he realizes that true champions keep going no matter what. And they keep going no matter what. They keep practicing, and they can be unstoppable. And so he keeps practicing, and he finally masters the curves, and he has his first Paralympic race, and he wins third place. And he's like, that's great. I'm happy. But he keeps practicing, and he comes back the next time and actually wins first place.
I love it. There's a lot of things I love in this book. One, you're acknowledging the fact that Brandon has limitations, that he's not able to do everything typical, quote unquote, typical kids can do because of his medical issues. And I love that he doesn't win right away, and that he has issue, and he falls and he slides off the track. And because there are too many stories out there, like, you can do it, kid. And then you go from like, I can't do anything. And next thing I know, I'm winning the Olympics, and there's no struggle. And we all know that that's not very realistic.
Yeah. And the thing is that I wanted it to be as realistic as it can for a child who's between the age of 3 to 10. So understanding that practice and doing things over and over and perfecting what you want will actually get you to the goal. And it may not be on your first or second try, but you keep trying and it will do that. And the other reason that I created this particular series is that I really wanted the unlikely hero. These stories that I write are not for someone else to rescue them, but they get to be the hero. So I always say it's the unlikely hero. When we grow up, we never got a chance to see kids in a wheelchair or kids who are blind or even have autism or ADHD be the winner, be the actual hero in the story. And so this new series, I Am Made, is just that. It's really to encourage kids and also to teach kids empathy for kids who may be in a wheelchair or who may be blind or have other disabilities, that they have something that they can contribute to society.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, as we're talking, I did a quick little research, and I just realized I'm older than the Paralympics. And that's a testament to how old I am. But it's also the idea that people with disabilities can compete. We're only just acknowledging that. It's just been a relative recent thing that we're looking at folks and saying, you're in a wheelchair, but you can play wheelchair basketball. You can race. You can do all sorts of things if we help take down barriers.
Correct. And what's interesting is that initially the teacher even kind of discourages him, but he's not even going to be changed or dismayed by, someone else saying, maybe sports is not for you. He's still determined to find his place in the sports world. And when the teacher realized how determined he is, she then kind of says, well, let's talk about what you can do and what you can be great in. So.
Yeah. I love that too. I think it's a great message to kids that not that their teachers are wrong, but that their teachers are human.
Yes.
And maybe we need to show our teacher and demonstrate to our teachers that just how determined I am to make that reality come true.
Yes. I think it's so important. And like you said, the teachers are human. And I think she just initially took it from first glance. But when she saw how determined he was and really wanting to do this, she was like, let me do some additional research and see how I can really support him in the goal that he wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you seem to have made a life out of motivating kids. Where did that spark come from?
So interesting enough. So this was never, at least not my thought, to be what I was going to be doing. My degree is in health administration and health education, but my husband and I adopted a daughter, and I remember us going through all of the lessons and how sometimes adoptees can feel certain ways about, sometimes they may hear the word real mom or, those type of things. And I remember saying to my husband, whenever we get our, adopted child, I'm going to write one book. That's what I said. I'm going to write one book to let the child know that they're chosen and cherished and loved. And that started my whole beginning of writing books for children. So my very first series was called Promise Pals. And Promise Pals is really my faith-based version of just affirming children. So every book is, I can be chosen, cherished, and loved. Or if you're facing fears, you can be fearless and resilient. And I began reading them in schools, and it was great. But then I was like, I'm missing something. And so as I kept going, and here we are now, a 12-book series for Promise Pals and a 3-book series for I Am Made, this new series, really, I was really intentional about wanting to write for what seemed to be the forgotten or the unlikely heroes.
Well, first off, I want to acknowledge that I'm not surprised that you're out there motivating kids, because you're a hero. You and your husband are heroes. And I think making the choice to adopt a child, making the choice to be a foster parent is such an important choice. It's such a brave choice. And I know what you're going to say is, but I'm the one who's blessed. It changed my life for the better. And I acknowledge that. But I do hope that one of the things, people will hear when they hear your story and read your books is open their minds a little bit to the possibility that maybe there's a child out there that would like to be part of our family. Because there's so, as we've said here in the show, there are close to 400,000 kids in the foster care system every single day, just here in the United States. And so there's a whole lot of kids out there who need a forever home. And so I just want to tip my hat. Well, I don't have a hat, but I want to just tip my imaginary cap to you and your husband for making that choice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's also important to really just reiterate that kids in general already have big emotions in their small little bodies. And so adding adoption or disability or anything of that nature, it really helps that if they can see books that can kind of affirm them. For my books, at the end of every book, we always say it out loud. I am made to be unstoppable, or I am made to finish strong. And so it kind of draws the kids in that they're actually saying the affirmation that is kind of surrounding that book. And so even when I read to my 4-year-old, we're saying, come on, get up, let's go. And we stand up and we're like, I am made to be strong and I am made to be unstoppable. And so that her saying it herself rather than only just hearing me say it allows for it to now be planted inside of her to now grow and start to think, how can I be unstoppable? How can I be strong?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot on social media, and I've read how important that positive self-talk is. That, you know, if we're talking bad about ourselves, I'm a loser, I can't do this, I can't do that, then you're right. It's going to happen. But if you also, on the flip side, if you or your child are telling yourself, no, I am made to be unstoppable. I can do this. I have some talent. I can get through this. They're going to make it happen. Your brain kind of listens to whatever it is you feed them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so important for our kids. There's so many things out there that tells them that they can't, or they watch things that may not be age appropriate for them, and they absorb that. And it's so important that, one, we're taking the time to read to our kids, vocabulary and kind of really pouring in, but also the importance of, like you said, kind of saying it out loud. And so when I see my daughter struggling and I try to step in, she's like, no, mommy, I got this. I'm strong. I'm unstoppable. And I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and let that happen.
Now, I'm just imagining this. Has it happened at daycare or at an event where someone tries to come over and be very helpful to your daughter and she just gets up and says, nope, I am made to be unstoppable. I don't need your help. Thank you very much.
It has. So I read my stories to her. And so I remember one time someone's like, oh, let me help you zip up your coat. And she's like, no, I'm strong like Landon. I'm strong. I can do it. And I was like, okay. And it just warms my heart that she is remembering the story that she can then apply it to her life, even at a 4-year-old.
I love that. I love that. Have you always been a champion of the underdog, Dorian?
I have. So that, interesting enough, even when I did work in healthcare, I volunteered for youth groups and would work with children of all ages, whether it was taking them out camping, because I lived in the city, but taking them camping, or even just sharing life skills. And I feel old, but some of them are now college professors and they are nurses and doctors. And to see that I had a little piece of that, but I've always wanted to kind of pour back into children. I've got the chance of, again, like I said, living in a city, you don't always get that outdoor feel. My front grass was no bigger than maybe probably a little 8x12 paper, but being able to have someone pour into me, and I realized how important that was, that I wanted to do the same. And so helping all children, including disabilities, and seeing kids who may have ADHD and working with them so that they can accomplish their goal is really amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And isn't it funny how little you mentioned living in the city and then taking kids out to camp. I worked as many decades ago. I worked in a detention center for boys, and it was in the woods, and it didn't have any fences around. There were no bars in the windows because we didn't need them because we were out in the woods, and most of the kids that came to us were from the city. And when the sun went down, they would not step outside into the woods. They were terrified.
Yes. I can only imagine, because I know the very first time I went camping, I was like, oh, what is all those extra noises? Now, mind you, I live in the city, so I'm used to noise, but that wasn't the same type of noise.
There's a different kind of noise.
Yeah.
Tell me, what's next in the I Am Made series? Do you? How many books are you planning?
So at this point, I have 2 that's currently out there. So I Am Made to Finish Strong and Unstoppable is currently out on Amazon. But I have I Am Made to Shine, which is a autistic savant little girl. And that's coming out towards the end of December. So next month, you can definitely expect to see that. But towards next year, there's going to be about a blind child and a nonverbal child. And again, they are the hero in the story. And so it'll be amazing and interesting to see how they are the hero and sometimes even save their classmates or rescue their classmates in the story.
Yeah. You know, I love how you're advocating for kids who are typically left out, and that you're out there inspiring people. Sometimes we just find that mission in our lives on our own, but a lot of times we're kind of led there, and we have people in our lives who help us. Who was it that inspired you and maybe lit that spark for you to stand up for the underdog?
I would have to say there's 2 people. One, that's my mom. Mm-hmm. She is a nurse. She's a retired nurse at this point. And she has always taught me and my siblings, my younger siblings, the importance of treating everyone kindly. And she's always taught us, and my dad too, the importance of you never know who you're going to entertain. And so it is always good to treat everyone kindly. So that's number 1. But there was this lady, her name is Miss Calbert, and I struggled, at least I do my own illustrations, and I actually struggled with artwork as a kid. I was like, oh, I don't think this is pretty. And she really poured into me and was like, you can do this. And I felt like that just wasn't my gift, not realizing that her encouragement and my mom's encouragement really pushed me to kind of do this. And of course, obviously my daughter, because she was adopted, I wrote books so that kids who are adopted and all kids can then understand the importance of affirmation and really just kind of empowering them to keep going and doing what they really have set in their heart and mind to do.
I love that. I think that's so very important. Remind us too about your Promise Pal series. How you mentioned how many books are in the series? Was it 12, 15?
So there's 12 in the Promise Pal series, and each one has a different. So it's on online safety, adoption. A little girl has vitiligo, which is a skin pigmentation, and so what society calls different, God and sees it as unique and beautiful. And so each one of the stories kind of represents something that our children are going through. Even one of my stories represents on grief and going through the 5 stages of grief. And so it really just teaches kids that even in the midst of their sadness or whatever they're going through, they can still be empowered and still knowing that they can be comforted or loved, or that they're not alone through their struggle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of great ideas coming in your mind. Is there another series that you're perhaps thinking about?
So I don't know. You know, like I said, I initially thought I was only going to write 1 book, and here we are. I did take a short pivot. So while I was promoting this Unstoppable book, I kind of remembered and thinking of my nieces and nephews who are getting ready for college and getting ready to go into the career readiness. And again, this is, far beyond, but I wrote a book called How Not to Get Hired, utilizing my experience working in the healthcare industry as a leader, and wrote it in a way that high schoolers could understand what you need to do to ensure that you are ready for the career, you're ready for your job, or even your college admissions. So it was just a pivot, but I believe at this point, right now, I'm going to focus on I Am Made and see where it goes. I'm saying I have 5 stories, but who knows what could happen.
Yeah. So that book, How Not to Get Hired, you just tell kids, these are the things you can do to make sure you're not hired, and so do the opposite.
Right. So it explains not coming to your interview on time, or not dressed appropriately, or not even having anything to say. And so what this book does is it tells you not to do those things, what we as hiring managers think about you when you do it. So, by showing up late, it means that you're not going to show up late to the job if we give you the job. But in addition to that, I also share what hiring managers would like to see if you recover. So maybe we might be willing to give you a second chance. Here's how we'd like to see you recover, whether it is to send us an email or before you leave and walk out the door, I really want to apologize again for being late, or, just a way to recover. And then because I'm big on affirmations, every chapter has an affirmation.
Awesome.
And that is so important, because when people, it doesn't even have to be kids, but when we kind of mess up, we're almost like, I messed up. This is not going to happen. I'm just going to move on to the next. But if you find a way to recover, a hiring manager may give you that second chance that actually lands the job or allows you to get your college admissions or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Is there any way for a kid to recover if they bring their mom or dad to the interview?
I've actually had that done.
I'm not.
And the only way to recover is to literally turn around and say, hey, Mom, I've got this.
Right.
You can wait for me in the waiting room, or you can wait for me in the car. That is the only way I'd like to see that recovery. And then say, I'm really sorry. I was a little nervous, but in all honesty, I feel like I'm ready to step into this role, and I don't need my mom or dad to help me.
Very good.
Because I'm not hiring your mom and dad. I'm hiring you.
Yep. And if I hire you, I don't want your mom and dad to be here.
Exactly.
Hey, Dorian, where can we go to find out more about I Am Made to Be Unstoppable, Promise Pals, and all the great things coming from your imagination?
Absolutely. You can always go to my website, which is Dorian Inspires. That's DorianInspires.com. Or you can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Dorian.inspires.
We've had an inspiring time speaking to the author of I Am Made to Be Unstoppable. It is the new book from our guest, Dorian Stewart. Hey, Dorian, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I just want to affirm you for doing this, because this is awesome to allow parents to follow you and be able to hear more about good books that they can get for their children.
Thank you so much. We're oh so very happy that you spent part of your day with us here at Reading with Your Kids. If this episode made you smile or gave you something to think about, please pass it on. Share the link, leave a 5-star review, and hit that subscribe button so you can join us for the next exciting episode of the show. We'd love for you to connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading with Your Kids on Instagram, at Jedley Magic on X. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guests, Adib Khorram and Hanna Cha. Please be sure to check out Tea is Love. And Dorian Stewart. Please check out I Am Made to Be Unstoppable. I want to thank my amazing team, Fatima Khan, Chris Doherty. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so very much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very, very much for helping to make the world kinder, smarter, more empathetic place. And you do that every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking to in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.